First question, so why your name is John Wick? Is like your real name or you just like change it to John Wick?
No, of course it's not John Wick. I'm Italian, so I cannot be named John. I chose the name because I love movies, the movies of John Wick. I used to play the game. I was used to watch the movies as well, and there was this scene, I think it was from the third movie, when he's on a horse escaping from people on a motorcycle, and he on the horse kills them all on the motorcycle. And this made me have the idea, because we use cavalry commanders here in Rise of Kingdoms. So I said, oh, he's on a horse, so I can maybe use the name John Wick for my arc carrying, for my Belisarius.
The second question is like where you come from.
I'm Italian, so I come from Italy. I'm not living in Italy anymore. I live in Austria at the moment. Yeah, I'm Italian. I come from the south of Italy, where the pizza is made.
What you do for the living in your real life?
I'm a musician. I play in orchestra.
Wow.
That's what I do.
So how long you have been playing this game?
It's almost 800 days, almost 3 years.
So the next question is this true that you can speak English, French, Italian?
Yeah, I've been traveling in a lot of countries, and I've been living also in a lot of countries. I've lived in Paris, in France, for some time. I'm living now in Austria, and of course I lived most of my life in Italy. And while traveling the world for my job, I also speak a lot of English. Mostly during my days I speak a lot of English. So actually I can speak fluently Italian, which is my mother tongue, of course. And I can speak fluently English and German, because I'm living in Austria for 4 years already. So I'm speaking German a lot. As I lived in France for some time, in Paris, I'm able to speak French as well. And I understand Spanish, but I don't speak it very well. So yeah, I can speak Italian, English, German, French, and a little bit of Spanish. But mostly I understand Spanish. I don't speak it very much.
Do you plan that to learn some Chinese?
I wish to. I know some words, mostly bad words, because Slody taught me some bad words in Chinese. But yeah, Chinese is a very, very, very difficult language for us coming from the western part of the world. But I would love to speak an Asian language.
When you joined 1052 Kingdom?
I never migrated, so I started playing the game in 52, and I was always here. This was my home kingdom, yes.
Can you share with us what is the secret of taking art, because you are so fast?
Basically, there is no real secret. I mean, the trick is that I've learned from the beginning to do this. From the very beginning, I had this job to take the arc. And so from the very beginning, I tried to do this the best way possible. There is a countdown in the middle, which is 8 minutes and 15 seconds for every arc. And basically, what you need to do is you need to know your connection very well. You need to know your marches very well. You need to know where to position your marches. So sometimes it happens that if you are lagging, the timer on the top left is not really accurate. So you don't see exactly when the arc is spawning, and you cannot exactly click in the moment where you're supposed to click. So you just should have a stopwatch beside you. So when you deliver the arc, you set the stopwatch. You know exactly when the arc is spawning, and of course you can also click the top left symbol to have an idea if the arc was there or not. And of course using an iPad also helps, because with the iPad you have less lag, and in general you crash much less. I think I never crashed in an important game using the iPad. The device is one of the keys to have a successful arc escort. So of course you need to have a good device, because in the middle there would be like a mess, a big brawl. So if you don't have a good device, you will inevitably lag and your device will crash and you will not get the arc in any way.
What is the most important in the arc battle?
I think I will give this answer basing on something that is very, very important to the Chinese culture, which is Sun Tzu. Am I speaking it correctly? Sun Tzu. Of course, you know better than me that Sun Tzu wrote this book, very important book for your culture, which is called Art of War. At least this is the English title. One of the most important things he says is know your enemy. You always need to know your enemy. You need to know who are you facing, who are you battling against. So the most important thing for us in OV is that we study the enemy strategies very well, very deeply. We try to see how the enemy is behaving on the battlefield, which strategies they are adapting, where they are dispatching the troops, what are they doing in precise moments of the battle, in key moments, for example, before the arc, after the arc, how they are using their skill points. So we try, of course, not to just play our strategy, but we try to adapt our strategy basing on the enemy strategy. So this is one of the key, I think, for me, it's one of the most important thing in the arc battle. Of course, you need to have a good strategy for buildings, a good strategy for the arc, and a good strategy for provision, because these three factors play the most important role for the final score, because it's basically some of these three components will get you the final score. But to answer your question briefly, I think that the most important thing is to know your enemy.
And then if you go to China, you will find Slaudi?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, we are good friends. I consider him a good friend. We speak a lot, and he's a really good guy. So, of course, if I go to the city where he lives, I would love to meet him in person. Why not?
What is the commander that you use in the arc for the fight match?
Of course, the commander I use a little bit different from the commanders the other players use, because I need to take the arc, so I need to be very, very fast. So I always use commanders that have march speed. For example, if I need to use infantry, I always send Alex, because Alex has 30% march speed, or Charles Martel, for example, that has 20% march speed. So I always use combinations that have march speed. If I use archers, for example, I always send LC, because LC has 20% march speed for archers as well. And of course, for the cavalry, I use all the most important commanders that you already know, which are Cao Cao for cavalry, and I use Belisarius. Of course, you know that I love to use Belisarius. He's one of my favorite commanders. I also love to use William, for example, the new cavalry commander, because he's very, very fast.
Which commander is your favorite commander?
My favorite commander is Belisarius, the epic cavalry commander, because from the very beginning of Osiris League, from season 1, I was using him to take the arc. So he's for sure my favorite commander. But I also love Artemisia. I use her a lot on the battlefield because she has very strong AoE and she is very tough to kill.
What is the secondary commander you pair with Artemis?
YSG.
Okay, what is the equipment that you use? The gear?
Mostly I try to use defense and health equipment, but the equipment that I actually use the most is the windswept equipment, which is the blue equipment for the march speed. So the health for the march speed, the chest plate for the march speed.
The archer commander, you using the same equipment?
Sometimes, yes, because I need the march speed more than anything else. Yes, I mean, you're gonna die anyway. You're gonna die anyway with archers or anything you take the arc with. So at least if you have more march speed, you can go far away. You can walk a little bit more before dying.
Can you share some of the strategy in the arc that we can use?
Okay, I will not, of course, share strategy in the TFIC, otherwise Slaughty will kill me.
Okay.
I will tell you some advices that can be helpful to everyone when you are trying to make a strategy for the Ark of Osiris. The most important thing is that there have to be more people working on the strategy. So I think it's very wrong that just one person works on the strategy. For example, at the very beginning of season 1, there was Lodi who gave the ideas, but then we were talking all together. Lodi had the main idea for the team, and then we discussed all together. So we can actually polish the strategy, we can make it better, we can make it more effective. So this is an advice that I can give to everyone. So always discuss with your team members, because you must know what everybody else is doing. So if you don't know what your teammates are doing, if you find yourself in a difficult position, you will never be able to adapt to what the enemy is doing. So always discuss with your teammates. For me, the most important advice about strategy that I can give to everyone.
What is the advice that you can give to the free-to-play player?
To be very competitive in ARK, of course, you need to have a team that has the top commanders. But even if you're not spending a lot, so you're a very low spender or even a free-to-play player, I think you have a chance to be in a competitive team. For example, I'm a very low spender. I don't spend very much on the game. I think I spent in 3 years less than $1,000. And also in our team we have one player that is completely free to play, which is Antun, our gatherer, and he's really good. I mean, after playing so many days the game, you have all the basic equipment and all the commanders you need to do your job. So the most important thing is to work on your personal skill, work on the strategy and know what you are doing. And even if you are free to play, you can be in a competitive team. What you can do, you can focus on one specific role. You don't do like players who spend money on the game, that unlock all the commanders or spend to get sculpture for every commander. You just decide which kind of player you want to be from the very beginning as free to play, and you focus all your efforts on doing something specific. For example, if you want to be a gatherer in your team, you make sure you have all the materials to craft the gathering equipment. Or if you want to be a cavalry player, you make sure that all the gold heads you have in your account, you spend them for upgrading the cavalry commanders. So at the end, after 700 days, 800 days, you will have the possibility to have 5 teams on the field. So even if you don't have all the other commanders, you have exactly the commanders you need to do your job. This is the best advice, in my opinion, that I can give to the free-to-play players.
What commander that you recommend to the free-to-play player?
Depends on which kind of player you want to be, but I think the most versatile commanders for a free-to-play player are cavalry, for one simple reason, because cavalry commanders have the easiest equipment to craft. You can use the green equipment, the advanced equipment, and you can still have a role on the battlefield, because with the green equipment you still get good bonuses. For example, the Vanguard halberd or the Vanguard piece for the legs. You can still have good bonuses for cavalry, even if you are spending not so much in materials. And of course, you also have epic commanders that can be really useful on the field. For example, as I said, Belisarius, Babers, and you can have Cao Cao, which you can get in the gold chest. You can also save your sculptors and use them for commanders like Saladin, which you can have just at 5-5-5-1. So you don't need to complete the commander. Actually, you can have it at 5-5-5-1. So you can save 310,000 gold heads, and you can still have one of the most effective commanders on the battlefield. And of course, you have free-to-play commanders like Edelfled, which you get in the daily missions, and you have also Huan Mulan, which is a Chinese commander that you know very well, which you can get in the gold chests as well. And if she is already 5-5-1-1, she is already very useful on the battlefield, almost as good as an expertise Mulan. You need to look out for these kind of combinations that allows you to use less gold ads but have the most effectiveness that you can have on the battlefield. So even using less gold ads, you have the possibility to be effective in the Vancouver series, also in KVK. So I think for a free-to-play, I advise to use cavalry, or in general legendary commanders that don't require to be maxed, even if you want to use them on the battlefield.
Anything that you want to say to your fans? Actually, you got many Chinese fans for my channel.
Thank you for the support. I'm very grateful that you give me and in general our team a good support. It's very important to us. Always be nice to other people, always support each other, always try to be positive, even in a game. I think it's very important.
那么影片结束了，那如果大家有兴趣想要玩万国觉醒的话，可以透过我们的这个 QR code， 左边的话是我们的台湾的 QR code， 那右边的话是我们马来西亚的 QR code 呢，就可以下载到我们的万国觉醒的游戏啦。 大家如果有兴趣玩这款游戏，可以点击我们下方的链接，然后下载我们的万国觉醒，你就可以玩这一款游戏啦。好了，那这就是以上的这个影片呢。如果喜欢影片的话，可以订阅我们的 YouTube 频道，点赞我们的粉丝专页。感谢大家啦，拜拜。でもそんなんじゃダメ、もうそんなんじゃほら、心は進化するよ、もっともっと。そう、そんなんじゃやだね、そんなんじゃまだ私